Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order. It is Wednesday, April 10th, if you believe it or not, at 6 p.m. So welcome everybody. We do have one item to add to the agenda. That would be number 7 under new business, the Rensselaer Falls construction project. Our highway superintendent asked that be added on, and so we're adding it on. Okay, again, welcome everybody. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from March 13th of 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Your second.
Second.
Any further discussion, petitions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Carries. All right, correspondence. We have a few here. Let me find. We received the maturity notice for the 2 CDs that we hold for the library. I'm pretty sure we don't want to touch them because the rates are 0.1% at this point, the interest rates. So one CD we're holding is for $15,068.18. The other CD we hold is $18,458.48 for a total of $33,526.66. So these are through North Country Savings Bank, and we've been holding on to them for quite some time. And what we do is we collect the interest, and then at the end of the year, we give it to the library. So that's the first item. The second item I found very interesting is the comptroller's office. I get quite a few emails from the comptroller weekly, and this one I found particularly interesting, and I think it needs to be documented. The percentage of New Yorkers with mental illness rose, and state efforts to increase the number of beds have proceeded slowly. And he shared some quite profound percentages that I thought, according to the federal data. So I just want to read a few. The mental health needs of New Yorkers have greatly increased, with 21.1% of adults struggling with mental illness and 5.1% with a severe mental illness in 21 to 22, according to federal data. Between 2013 and 2022, there was a 23% increase in the number of individuals served by the state's public health mental health system, with nearly 900,000 residents utilizing these services. According to the report by State Comptroller DiNapoli, the rising need for mental health services coincided with the loss of 990 beds, with a 10.5% drop in capacity in inpatient psychiatric facilities statewide between April 2014 and December of 2023. According to DiNapoli, increased mental health services are urgently needed to meet the rising demand for care. With the COVID pandemic behind us, New York must redouble its efforts to restore inpatient psychiatric bed capacity and preserve and expand telehealth services. I thought that was pretty profound myself. So I wanted to share that. The next thing I wanted to share is I did participate in a workplace violence webinar through NYMER today. And we are doing workplace violence training on April 18th at 10 a.m. for staff and April 25th at 1 p.m.
Both days.
I'm sorry?
No, one's at 10 a.m.
I didn't hear you.
To 1 a.m. April 18th to what time?
10 a.m.
Okay.
And then April 25th at 1 p.m. This is through our labor attorney's office, Romer and Whalens. They do this every year for us. But the NYMER one was interesting as well. So just wanted to document that. Let's see. I was at a luncheon today, and the county chamber was there. And this is the new Discover St. Lawrence County magazine. And if y'all remember, we're paying for an ad. Well, the village paid it. And so this is our ad. This is quite, it's a wonderful magazine that brags up St. Lawrence County. So if anyone is interested in, I have 2 copies. We'll just leave them right here if you're interested. So that's all I have for correspondence. Okay, town finances reports.
Good evening. The March report is available and was sent out in advance. We have completed 25% of the year. So as we look through the expenses, and I know I see this every month, but the largest one is our personnel services expenses, and we just want those to be noted that they're all trending as expected at 25% or less, most are at 22%. The exception to that would be the one that's paying out the snow removal, obviously heavy loaded in this part of the year, that'll die off. And the next, streets one will kick in. And so overall, looking government-wide, we have, 1, 2, 3, third line from the bottom is our net surplus through deficit. And you can see that government-wide, we are continuing to be in a surplus position, but we have 9 months in front of us, so we'll continue to watch that as well. Any questions on the report? Okay, and then in terms of the cash, that is the right pink sheet. I just draw your attention to that. You will note that the cash held for special purposes year over year has, as expected, started to decline, and the special purpose cash represents 15% of the overall cash balance.
I would like to add that we did receive, thanks to Eric and Stephen's efforts, the $119,000 reimbursement from the Power Authority. So that is shown in here as well. So that was a little bit of a process, but we got her done, so. Any questions on the reports? All right. Clerks?
The next is the clerk report. We did review the month in March and as well as the year to date on that one. Year to date, the town has received approximately $3,800 in fees from this account, and 1,500 of those came in the month of March. Overall, the accounts are balanced and the money is being transferred out to the third parties as expected and required.
Okay. Heidi, do you want to add anything to that? Nope. All right. Any questions of the clerks? All right, great, thank you. Audit committee.
Oh, one more thing,
Oh,
sorry.
mhm.
Just want to confirm with the council that the annual financial report to the state comptroller was reviewed with Marianne and is filed, so that was due on March 31st. We mentioned that last meeting, but just get that even view.
Okay. Then we thank you for the work on that. This was the new system. It's not an AUD now, it's called an AFR.
Correct.
Okay. Annual financial reports, so the annual update.
Yeah.
So that was quite the task. 2 AFRs were submitted, one for the joint municipal building and then one for our regular finances. We are happy to say that the joint municipal building will not have to be done for this year. So that'll be done. We can never remove that into the account. So
Close that out.
one last thing.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Audit committee.
Ready, Heidi?
Mhm.
General fund A, $35,745.91. Town outside B, $19,520.45. DA townwide highway, $24,776.40. DB highway, $23,925.58. Special fire, $4,588.83. Special lighting, $292.56. And trust and agency, $25,317.34.
Okay, so I need approval of expenditures. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Okay, department reports. Heidi?
Yep, so we've been busy with tax collecting, On April 4th, we collected 87%. We just sent out the second notice reminders. I don't remember what day it was now, but it was 231, I think, second notice reminders, which is just anybody that hasn't paid anything on their taxes. So those went out. Communications technology, we met on the 28th to go over the new website as a group, to have any feedback for our upcoming training. That is, this Friday, the 12th, and then Monday. And then in regards to the new Owl 3, the village, purchased that, and it is actually being used downstairs tonight, I believe, for the planning board meeting. So we'll let you know how that turns out. Records management, Tasha and I have been busy working on that. I've had Tasha updating the box labels. We've decided that we're gonna come in on a couple Saturdays to do some moving boxes from the upstairs vault downstairs. It's just too hard to do during the day with the public. So we'll work that out together. And then we attended our sexual harassment and discrimination webinar, and then we have the upcoming, like you said, the workplace violence coming up this month. But besides that, I don't have anything else. If anybody has questions.
I just want to thank Heidi and Tasha for setting those trainings up. Appreciate it. We have to track all that. How are we with the ethics disclosure forms? Are we all set?
Just a couple of that haven't come back yet.
Okay, that's what we do at the end of January, so we have to do a follow-up.
Yeah. And then everybody will get an email too for the workplace violence once. Romer sends their packet, I'll send the packet, and then I'll send our policy and this will be to everybody. So it's coming.
So the workplace violence webinar that I attended today, we're really advanced. I just want to brag about that. We're in good shape as far as what municipalities should be doing. So, okay. Linda,
I have no children, grandchildren.
can you stand up so we can hear you?
Oh. At least you don't have them.
Oh, yeah, I know you don't like the podium. It's gone now.
No, I don't have to make a phone. But anyway, I haven't been coming because I have 5 grandchildren now. And we usually have practice on Wednesday. That's why I make a complete report for all of you. With pictures and everything. So I think we appreciate that. And Rennis has been a little sick, so I'm missing her. She usually comes in twice a week, but now she's getting better, so she's coming back. And there are people coming in. Lady came in yesterday from Minnesota. One son goes to St. Lawrence, and one goes to Middlebury. And those are the kind of people that come in the age 45. And we had the best meeting we had last week with the 1919 Women's Study Club. And that was started in 1906. And none of those women were, of course, in that time. But I was told there's this spec all the Canton women that could not go out and talk politics. They had to eat in houses. And that still happens because I'm part of that. I go to houses. I had to speak about the White Church this time. And his daughter was there and his granddaughter was there. And I just got a letter today from Sally McElhern, how much she loved that. I think his daughter was there. So I'm having 2 more or 3 more open house, and you'll hear about them. So, any questions?
How many people came in last month? What was on your
I
report?
put in there 38,
38?
and
Just off the street and
Oh,
just
yeah.
drop-ins, right?
oh yeah,
Nothing scheduled. So
and the
that's pretty
best
good.
surprise was what's his name from Remington. He was he was there for 18, 20 years. Ian McAllister.
Yeah.
He came to McAllister. He heard about the place and he wanted to come and see it. He and his wife, they were there an hour.
Great.
So that's the kind of people that are coming, plus the community.
Mhm.
I have Tom Vanderwater and who's the other one that comes and does research? It's just both.
Mhm.
And they like to come in and sit there. Some I don't have to take care of because they know what they want. So it's been a compliment. So we have them.
Mhm.
And I hope they're smooth.
She says that every meeting.
Any questions?
Any
So
questions?
Reference to the moral grist mill. What's that? What's in it reference to?
Oh, the lady called, a lady came in.
Okay, but there's nothing in your written report. with
No.
regard to it.
So did she come and see you? Or no? This
I'm sorry,
lady-
which one?
This lady
Board.
that wanted the breast milk.
No,
She didn't call you, but she came in and see me. And she wanted to know who told you. I told you.
okay,
So I guess she never follows through that.
to
Her
read,
name is there.
read, to read the bill and say
Shane.
that?
Why is it not being looked?
Well, you said, oh, she wondered why there's not being looked up.
Yes,
I think
Her
it's
name is there.
condemned too, because of the safety.
she lives
But
next,
There is a window open there, Mike, I'm gonna let you know when I drove by the other
and
day.
she lives next to me.
That's a county.
You know her?
Pardon?
Lee Shine,
County
Dave,
owner.
Waterloo Grist Mill. That's her name.
Yeah, no, nobody else.
No, she doesn't come in to see me. yet.
Okay. I
Okay,
wasn't gonna answer the question.
it's a beautiful building.
Yes, it is.
I think county owns it. don't they?
Did the county,
I think,
the county took it over?
I think the county's got
When did that happen?
tax proposal.
Oh, I guess I didn't know. Okay, we'll do it first time.
And it's, well, it's gonna end up being a mess because it's on a historic
the river.
register, it's got registers
It is.
and not, it's, yeah. There's
Yeah, I
been
don't
money
think
donated to St. Lawrence had money in it. Hmm.
There was one more thing I had. Something right about Nancy LaFever,
Yeah, speak up, Linda, so people
Nancy
on,
LaFever, county historian. And myself, Lance Rudiga, and Brian Thompson, the town historian. After 3 years, that corner is gonna be historic. And, there'll be a marker, gonna be called, county they were gonna do county compost. But we're gonna have it be called the county offices, from the courthouse down to the, what I'm very happy.
it took a while to get.
We had 3 years.
All right,
Nancy does a good job.
thank you guys. Thank you, Linda. Stephen, would you like to go next?
I had down that hopefully it'd be dry enough to start cleaning up soon, but we actually were able to start this week. So we're going with that and all of our damage from plowing cleaned up and intersections swept and everything like that. So that's underway. We needed to have the original blueprints for the highway garage printed for the 12 Styles grant. That's been a bit of a struggle, but need to thank St. Lawrence County Real Property Office. They were good enough to do them. Took a while to do it because they had to lay them out to get flattened and rolled to get so they could copy it. So I was able to get electronic copy of them to leave for the grant, but you can send them out. And I gave Heidi a paper copy to be stored in the vault. And I still have the originals. So that's been taken care of. And as always, we're a little short-handed at the highway department, but I think we got a plan to try to handle that in-house, so hopefully that'll be resolved easily. Any questions?
You want to talk a little bit about the Mercer Falls,
Or, so,
project that we've requested of you?
as long as I'm not speaking wrong, I believe they've gotten grant to make their library and town hall bigger. The only room that they have is a basketball court, unfortunately, so basketball court needs to come out, so they've asked that we pull the blacktop up and take the fencing down. So that was, what I sent to everybody, that they'd like to get moving forward with it, and I'd kind of like to get moving forward while we're in that area, working to save moving machines back and forth. We just need acceptance to be able to get moving forward with that. They're, I believe, going to put a pickleball court in at their new playground area and stuff like that to try to make up the difference for the basketballs for being done.
Okay, so that's at the end of the agenda. We are gonna have to make an adjustment, on the hourly wage.
Okay, yeah, I had on the estimate that it was last year's pricing that we had.
Okay,
Yeah, so they should be aware that that could change.
okay. All right, so I expected to probably get approved tonight and then we, with that change. Okay,
Yeah, and that's pretty neat. And that's something that here we are in April. It's the first time it's come up. I don't think there's any reason why the start of the year, we can't make that adjustment so that
Yeah,
If, you
we're
know,
ready to
if
go.
he's got something he's gotta do, when he sends that out, the numbers are correct right from the get-go.
Right,
So he sent it, now, sent it, and then once you saw what it was, then we have to make the adjustments.
Right.
We should be able to do that right after the first year.
and the process, anytime Rensselaer Falls does request this type of project, they have to, the mayor works with Steven gives them an estimate, and then the Rensselaer Falls board has to approve that first, and then it comes here for approval.
We always do. The only thing that we can charge for is fuel and labor.
Yeah.
So I have it in there usually that we just keep track of the fuel.
Mhm.
And when we do the work at that given time, whatever fuel costs the town, that's what I charge accordingly.
Mhm.
I estimate what I think it will take to give them a rough idea. Same with labor. We keep track of the hours that everyone's there and how many people. We adjust accordingly. It seems to work out fine if that's fair for everyone to play.
Okay, great. Any other questions of Steven, comments? Right, thank you, Steven. How about Mike?
Good evening, everyone. Month of March, opened up the building permit season, issued 4 permits for the town of Canton. Total project cost was $838,000, BML was $1339. 2 of the projects, Bordeaux Brothers is gonna put up another silo on their property. And the other 2 projects were a new garage on Ames Road and a residential solar project on County Route 14. As I mentioned last month, I did go to my annual in-service training in Lake Placid and took part in another digester webinar through Penn State University. As the town revised the zoning codes, talking with Lee and Jen, I redid the report that was required by Homes and Community Renewal and used a new code on the report with them, which they received last month. Working with Mr. Buchanan to finalize US Light Energy project on the Mead Road. And as of today, I'm only lacking the New York State DOT permit to issue the permit for the installation of that solar site. So that's been a 4-year project. And everything else, just project going along. The restaurant is moving forward. The health department was there last Friday to do perk test for the septic and grease trap installation and go through their kitchen design. That should have been done 3 or 4 months ago, but it'll delay him a little bit, but hopefully he's still on schedule for July opening. And that is it.
Any questions? Can you give a brief update on the Pirates burned out structure?
Oh, yes. I was contacted by the neighbor of the property at 75 Churchill Street in Pirates. I contacted the judicial system with St. Lawrence County, who is handling the estate. They are well aware of it, that the house needs to be torn down and cleaned up. They hope to get it started in spring. That's where we're at. The neighbor has called me 2 or 3 times on it, but I understand her concern. I'm not,
Mhm.
but it's in the judicial hands with the estates and, but they know it has to come down. So.
Okay. Did I thank you? Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Cindy?
Okay. I've gone to Churchill today, so I took pictures of the house. Anyway,
Cindy, can you stand up, please? Can you stand up?
No.
Everybody can hear you.
okay. I'm just looking at my Friday, I will be proving out my role and finish up and publish the tentative assessment role for 2024. So looking forward to that. What happens is, every morning I replicate. So I back up my role to the county and the county replicates. So what's going on here has to be duplicated up over there. So we want to make sure we prove out together. So Friday I'll be talking to the county and make sure our numbers match. And if it is, we can finalize the role. So the railroad ceilings came in Friday, they came in late. I entered them into the roll and I'm waiting for them to double check me and if everything's okay, then like I said, it will be finalizing the roll Friday. The data collection has been starting again. I went, like I said, I was on Churchill today. There's about 30 houses, so that was good. And the exemption reports are coming in from the state and things are being run with a utility patch down at the county. So if anybody has to be removed from their exemption, it would come off through a utility patch that the county runs. Does anybody have any questions?
About this franchise.
Oh, that's the special franchises. We get that every year from the state. They put the values there and the special franchises come in at full value. So they have to be equalized at our current equalization rate coming, which is going to be 72% for the 2024 roll.
But there was one that was really,
One here that paid a significant chunk.
Oh, in Rensselaer?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they installed what we were told is they installed high-speed internet BIOS, and that was the reason for the increase. I mean, when I saw it, I also questioned it. Right away I emailed the state and they came back and they said, no, it's correct. They had installed high-speed internet down there and that's the reason.
so is it an 1,800%?
1,857% increase. That's a
Yeah,
that's a red flag for me, but.
yeah.
But that's
And-
because of the Verizon.
And
The
so
BIOS, yeah,
with an increase,
yeah.
So
what's the chance of a challenge on that?
Hard to say.
1,857%.
because isn't that gonna increase the revenue quite a bit? To Rensselaer Falls?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I contacted the mayor there and the clerk and they're aware of what's going on. That's good news for them. And the town,
Well, would be the town too.
the town.
Yeah, right, yeah,
Town-
Yeah.
Town also.
but you thought it was an error.
I thought it was an error, yeah, you see numbers like that, you question it, I'm like, wait a minute. So I contacted them, they said, no, it's correct, so.
So we're gonna quickly get into something that should be the subject of executive session, so.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay. All right, any other questions of Cindy?
Sure, I think it's here in print.
All right, thank you, Cindy. Okay, not sure. Megan's not here and I didn't.
She let me know last minute that she wasn't gonna make it.
Okay, did Lee let you know? Okay,
Lee's in the meeting.
okay,
All
all right, so I need a motion to accept department head reports.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carry. All right, committee reports. Who would like to start? Okay, I will. The Sustainability Committee met and you know, it's a standard monthly meeting, the first Tuesday of each month, and they've been studying sand salt concerns and they're really moving forward with the village piece of the climate smart community. I am meeting with Kathy Schrady on Friday morning for coffee just to talk about you know, the issues. Barb Beekman and I were charged with coming up with a joint resolution on the Sustainability Committee. It's been in existence for 10 years. 10 years. And so it's time to probably renew commitments of, continuing with that, that committee. And so that'll be part of the joint, meeting on April 26th is our next, that Wednesday. Is that the 26th or the 24th? One of those. That's our joint meeting with the village. That's the sustainability committee. Anyone else?
So we're good.
Oh,
Go ahead. No,
oh, I was just gonna do the complete streets. There's a resolution that they've worked up that, I have, that I'm just gonna share with the highway department, recommendations. Recommendations for minor street surface, features. So I'm gonna share with highway. I already shared a little bit with the highway committee. I'm good copies and talk about with that, and, probably we should look forward to that next month. I'm saying the resolution, of recommendations. There was a, I didn't have the name, so I was looking for 5 minutes. I couldn't find, but the professor and a student from St. Louis University, they were doing, study on bike kiosks. We're there on the St. Louis University campus. And they talked about, checking out and seeing what ideal locations would be in the town, within the village of Canton as well as working with people from Canton and see where they were there as well. And then there were some discussions on ideas and follow-up for their Court Street pop-up that they did last year. And ideas, and there's some ideas going to for that too that'll be coming out. Economic development, mostly we just talked about the Main Street, the New York Main Street growing. That's about it.
Okay. Nothing? Okay. Did we have a building committee after last month's meeting? We had another building committee meeting?
No.
No, that was before. Okay,
Before.
okay, let me take that.
I went through my notes. That's what I'm now reporting now.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right, thank you, everybody, for your work. Old business, we already started having this on the agenda. We took it off, but it's time to revisit it, and I've spoken to Eric about it. Volunteer firefighter and volunteer ambulance worker tax exemption. This is a law, if we choose to pass a law to give a percentage of their assessment. So there's some municipalities that are doing this already. Cindy just informed me though that the timeline we had a little bit wrong, right?
December 9th, 2025. That on that date, all the old exemptions will be repealed and a local law needs to be adopted and filed with the New York State Department by March 1st in order for it to be available at that year's exemption.
So
Yeah, we got time, but
you got some time to.
yeah, and
Mhm.
Marion, I did some checking just to see what the status of the law currently was, and I think what would make some sense is for Cindy and I to get together after the budget has been passed, because it looked like there was some proposed changes to it, maybe as part of the budget process. Don't know if that'll actually happen, but at least I know that there's some proposals out there, so we'll get together, and I've got a draft of a local law that we can put together for the board to consider next month or in June, so that we can, adopt it and get it done, in plenty of time before March 1st next year.
And so right now firefighters can get the exemption off their income tax. Yes,
They can't get both, but
right, they can't get both, but
but it depends upon, but I heard through the grapevine, New York State Assessor Association, they're trying to have them get both. I don't
they
know.
can do both.
They can't, well, we don't know. They're in the process of talking about that.
That's what
But
they're-
the tax credit on the income tax is only $200.
Okay,
But and then it's up to the board to decide what percentage they want to go. It's anywhere from 1 to 10% of for the exemption.
okay. Any questions on that? All right, great. All right, new business. Discuss town board member open seat. So, we were notified by Bob Sanamore after the last board meeting. So everybody knows that he resigned and we appreciate his service, but that opened up a seat for the board. So, I'd just like to open it up, make sure we're all on board of the process, and if you wanna, you know, there are some options on what we wanna do, but I think when I polled the board that we wanted to appoint someone, and then whoever is appointed, the seat will still be open for election, right?
This from November.
This coming November. So it would be an appointment and then there's an open election. We're still on board with that. Jim, you're still on board with that? Okay, good. We did get some interested parties, and we'll have to talk about that in executive session. Okay? Okay. All right, discuss time change of board meetings. I don't know whose idea this was the last time. But, you know, in January at our organizational meeting, you know, legally we said 6 PM for meetings, but if you want to change. Forever hold your peace. Who wants to change?
You say 5 o'clock,
It was thrown out.
is that a good idea? That was a
I
question.
don't think we should go that early. If we're gonna back it up at all, I wouldn't go any earlier than 5:30, then give the public time to get here. Most people work till 5. That's just my opinion. Or we leave it alone. What are the rest of you thinking? Well, I do know, and of course, as in your case, right now, we're waiting on a new board member, and so maybe we should just leave it alone now. And depending on, you know, we have had to in the past adjust board meeting days or times because of membership. Right? In fact, we have done it in the past, so I don't have a problem with waiting on it. And actually, it would, I'm coming up in the field work, I wouldn't care if it was 8 o'clock, so.
I wouldn't be.
I go to bed at 9, so that.
Well, they use, you don't see the enemy, they used,
Give me something to read in the morning.
they used to be 7:30. I don't go to bed till they're done. They used to
We're
be-
really disclosing a lot.
A lot of 7:31. But for 8 years, I was supervisor, they were all
I think that's a good idea, though, to get another board member.
Yes,
Just table it?
And then we can talk about it.
We can talk about it, we change it, and then first thing you know, you got a new board member that, like, interest, now I got an issue with the time, so. We can't make it at that. Yeah.
But I agree with you, John, you know, it does allow, the 5 o'clock meeting is a little too early,
Too early.
but, yeah, so, okay, all right, so we'll table that item. All right, the next item is Rich Road response to permit summary. I see, Bill is on Zoom, and Bill will be joining us in executive session. But Bill, can you give can you hear me, Bill?
Good evening, everybody.
Evening. Can you just give a brief summary? There is a public hearing coming up on May 7th at the Best Western at 6 PM. But if you could just talk a little bit about it, that would be appreciated.
All right, so we have 2 items that we're working on right now. There is a public hearing, which is available to anyone from the public to come in and offer comments to ORES about the draft permit. Each person who cares to speak will be allotted 3 minutes to make an oral presentation, and you can provide written comments as well. All of these comments would be part of the public record for the decision that's to be made yet. We, as the town of Canton and also the village of Canton, will join us in written comments that address a lot of the topics that we have discussed both in committee and at the board level. And these are things such as our town code and the fact that we have a town code that was in place when the permit was issued, the draft permit. And then we have the town code that was passed after that, which is a significant update and implements the comprehensive plan, and which would make significant changes. For example, it would set aside the commercial corridor on Route 11 for future business and residential development, and not solar. So our comments are going to address why we believe that the comprehensive plan and the current applicable zoning law should be considered by ORES in its siting decision. And we have a number of arguments to make in that respect. I would summarize it this way. The town and the town board speaks most clearly through its local laws. And because our local laws directly affect this siting decision, we are asking ORES to consider our existing code and the decisions that are embedded in that code so that it can make a proper siting decision and to keep the solar where it belongs in certain zones and away from certain zones. So there's a pretty extensive set of comments on that. And we have two different things that we're working on here in my office. We have a set of public comments that are more general, and then we have a statement of compliance with local laws and regulations, which is a legal document. Both of them are due at the same time, and we're working on both documents simultaneously. I've devoted a substantial section on battery energy storage and some of the issues that we've been working on together with the village on battery energy storage safety and providing additional resources in the event that there should be a fire at a battery storage unit, and how to best provide for a number of different issues associated with battery fires, which can be very, very impactful on the community. So we want to put those comments out there. We've also addressed in the public comments the fact that New York State has a working group to update the regulations and the codes that apply to these things. And our committee takes exception to what the working group has come out with. We believe that there are additional items that should be addressed. For example, there's quite obviously a financial impact associated with a large fire. We would like to make sure that the project is obligated to indemnify the town and the village for the costs associated with having to fight a fire. We want to address potential health impacts from smoke associated with fires, and the burdens that having a prolonged fire. Essentially, it's difficult to put these systems out because when those lithium-ion batteries burn, they generate their own oxygen. So you think about how you put out a fire, you deprive it of oxygen is one of the principal ways of doing it. And even though these battery systems all come with fire suppression built in, they continue to burn. That's what we learned from the Chemeaux fire down the road. So we've got extensive comments on that. And we're advising, we've already submitted comments to the working group. We talk about decommissioning and the fact that it's our view that once this facility is located here, after 40 years, it will be renewed, repowered, and not be decommissioned. That's kind of, it's been my view for a long time. I believe that the committee and the board shares a concern about that. We'll also address some of the environmental matters, wetland mitigation and endangered species, etc. We just today received an unredacted copy of the draft permit. The draft permit, when it's issued to the public, has a number of sections. For example, if there's an endangered species that's located within the project, they do not identify what the species is and where it's located. because they don't want people to know in general that there's an endangered species there. So they redact all that information, don't make it available to you and me as decision makers and advocates without a protective order. So we've sought a protective order, we've received a protective order. We now have all of the information. And the engineers and Eric and I will be working on specific comments relating to that from the legal perspective as well as policy. We'll also address the agricultural impacts. I haven't written this section of the comments yet. And I hope to collaborate specifically with Jim and the committee, the solar committee, on how we want to articulate those impacts, because there is an impact on agriculture. And we want to advocate for we want to talk about why it's impactful and what should be done about it. So I'm right now at about 20 pages of comments for the public. We'll probably have at least that, and probably double that for the legal comments. So we have a deadline, as you know. I'm working hard against the deadline, pouring every bit of resources I can into generating these documents. You and I won't have a chance to talk together as a board before the 7th. So what I intend to do is to provide you with drafts as they come available and as we finish them to see the additional sections that we're going to add. So I'm feeling the pressure for the deadlines and working hard to make sure we have the best possible position to advocate with ORES. And I would urge that anyone who cares to articulate their comments should come to the public hearing and to put their thoughts and recommendations on record. So that's kind of a brief summary of where we are today. And if there's any questions from the board, I'd be happy to take them now or at another time.
Okay. Eric, is there anything you would like to say?
No, Bill's summary, I think was right on the money.
Okay. Well, Bill, thank you for all your work, and it is a lot of work doing this and going through the process. We appreciate Eric and Barton LaJudas and you, Bill. So
All right, I'll stand by. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, the next item is the annual financial review of the supervisor's office. Let me see. Who did this?
John and I.
Yeah, okay. So would you like to report out? We have the documents here. What day did you do that?
We're given the documents, the questions are on the documents, we went down through all the questions, we checked them off, there's whether they're yes or no. And then basically what we said is at the end is that from the information that was provided to us, everything seemed to be approved. Yeah.
Okay, so Heidi will give this to you for part of the records. All right, great. So the next one is the annual financial review of the town clerk's office and tax collector records. This is both for, actually, this is for 2023 records.
Correct.
Right, okay. So,
Well, yeah, some of it goes right up to the date of when they're
Yeah,
doing it. too.
right.
So because they want to know.
Like the last decade.
So you
It's the
two
last-
did Heidi's
so-
this morning.
Yep, so got
Okay.
it. Randy and I did that this morning.
Okay, so you want to report out?
Basically the same thing. I mean, yeah. We asked the questions, Heidi supplied us the information, everything looked fine and, you know,
Mhm.
given the information that we asked for and what she provided us.
Everything appears to be very adequate.
Okay, so we'll get that to you, Heidi. All right, thank you for your work on that. Okay, so I believe I brought this up last month. We have a little bit of a fund balance in the fire protection. And it's about $802.14, and we really should get that off the books. So, the board needs to decide. Oh, it's 808 now? Okay, 808. Let's change that. So we really need to decide what to do with that to close that piece out. So there are four, fire departments. Three of them get additional funding. And one is just straight town funding. So, I'm opening it up to the board. What should we do with that $800?
I make a motion that we give the entirety of it to the fire department.
Okay, so we have a motion to the fire department. I
I'll
will,
second that.
you second that, John?
And the reason I made that motion is, basically when, we did our budgeting in August and September, we asked for budget requests from all the departments. And I was impressed with the one that came from fire, right down to the fact that, you know, what they budgeted for, what their income was, and basically where their source is, other than their chicken barbecue that they have
Which is coming
in,
up.
we're pretty much their source of revenue. I've sat, I don't know how many conferences around this table with all four departments in the room. And Parodies has always been very good at, you know, appreciative of Canton Fire, but the support they get from them. And they've always been very appreciative of the county Canton and the support we give them. And their balances have always been just right close to the line. I mean, they don't have any, you know, extra money that, and so, and knowing what I know, from all those meetings of the other departments, I think Parodies is, I'd say, deserving of that. It's $802. And I think that they would use it, I think they would use it wisely. That's why I made the motion.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further comments? I would just like to say that their chicken barbecue is April 21st. And you need, if you want to get it, you got to pre-order. It's $15 just for the meal and $10 for chicken. I mean, some of our fire departments have to do fundraisers just to pay for their insurance. So that's available. But I also want to comment that, you know, 307,651 is on fire protection. That's the total of all fire departments that we collect. So, and they all do a really good job. So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carried. Great.
Can you just repeat it? It was 808.
Yes, $808.
Even, I got,
Not even, but I will.
I got 802.14 on my.
We added interest to that, so.
Oh.
I
Well,
can provide,
Does that change anything?
It's not, it's better than the library.
I can provide Mary Ann with the exact total.
Okay, just so I can put it in the minutes.
Those
Okay.
numbers.
There we go.
Hence its way around it.
Okay. All right, good. The next item on the agenda is the Rensselaer Falls construction project. So Stephen's original estimate that he has worked with the Rensselaer Falls mayor was a total of $1,270.50. And that was an estimate based upon the $32 per hour for labor. I did more calculations and it really should be $35 per hour. You know, looking at the benefits and doing an average and, you know, Stephen's time is included as far as the health insurance piece, but we didn't include his salary in that calculation. If we had, you're talking probably $45 an hour. So I think Rensselaer Falls gets a great deal from us helping them out. So I make a motion that we approve this estimate with the increase of the per hour rate from 32 to 35 hours.
Okay.
That's my motion.
Is gas still 330?
It gets adjusted at the time of the project.
Okay.
So when, say we did it in 2 weeks, say we do it in 2 weeks, when MX makes a delivery, I'll take a copy of the fuel ticket with the pricing at that given time. And we do it that way.
And then this will be adjusted accordingly.
I mean,
And their village board's aware of that?
Yeah, yeah, that's how we've always done it. I had it listed just like that.
Okay.
Then the hourly rate, I estimate, how many hours it'll take. They know that it might be a half hour more, it could be 2 hours less. And we just do it accordingly.
So the, you know, if the board approves, then I will type up an MOU, send it to the village, and they'll sign first, and then we'll sign second. On this. Okay. Who moved that?
You
You
did.
did. Did I?
Yes, you did.
Great. Who seconded?
I did.
Great. All in favor, say aye. Carry. Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. This is a time for the board to listen to the comments, and it's not a time for back and forth, but we're here to listen. And I ask that if you do have a public comment, that you identify yourself. If you're in the room, please stand up so everybody can hear. And we try to keep it at a 3-minute minimum to allow everybody an equal opportunity. Maximum, minimum, whatever. Okay, see, we can't change.
Something makes it.
You can't change the time of the public meeting.
About a minute and a half. Now what am I gonna talk
Yeah,
about?
well, it's been a week so far and it's only Wednesday. All right, so I am opening up to public comment. This will include anybody on the Zoom as well. So is there any public comment? Okay,
I'm Barb Heller Rogers, and I live at the end of Minor Street Road, which is a very, very bumpy road, as Stephen knows. And I'm curious about the paving project that's going to go as far as Jingleville Road. And if there's any chance that you might consider extending the pavement project just a little bit further, like just a few more potholes closer to my house, so that I could save money on struts, tie rod ends, tires, and all those associated car repairs. You're doing a great job filling the potholes, though. I will say, whenever you have spare patch, hats off to your guys for coming out my street and filling in the potholes. But the shoulders are getting terrible. And also, I had a question for the general board about your broadband committee. And the end of Minor Street Road is also one of the identified internet deserts. And we are served by Verizon through a MiFi hotspot. And we have currently run out of data until the 16th, which is why I can't download your agenda and print it out from home, because we don't have any more electrons until the 16th. We ran out. But I wondered how the broadband project is coming to. Are there any vendors who have even submitted a quote for providing service to our internet deserts, which I live in one? And that's pretty much, and there's a small washout at Minor Street Bridge again on Eddie Pirates Road. And that's it. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
I have a comment.
Yes,
It's a question, but I'll make it. Barbara Lee. When Bill mentioned the draft that's going to come to the board, I wonder if the public gets to see the draft before the May 7th meeting. Drafts plural, probably. If there's any way we can see it to be informed more, or if it's just something you have.
you want to answer that? I'm sorry, are you asking Bill to answer that? Bill, did you hear the question?
You know, it's difficult for me to say that we're gonna have it finished before the deadline. And I certainly don't have any objections to making it available, say, on the town's website when it is finished. It is public comment. And it's intended to try to reflect all the issues that we've been discussing over these past many months. So I have no objections to making it available. But I just can't really commit to a deadline today. I'm working with May 7th. I expect that we're going to be working on it right up to the end. As I said, I have two substantive documents that I'm working on, so if I can make it available to you, I certainly will.
So it may well be on the town website.
It may, but that's no problem.
No, I understand that. It's a matter of education for all of us to be better prepared for that May 7th. And the letter I read recently that you wrote, Bill, about fire and EDF, it's very helpful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I just got the draft yesterday. I haven't even, it's lengthy, it's lengthy, and I haven't had a chance to review it all yet. And so I think the committee should meet and discuss the draft before bring it to the public. So,
Okay,
and we'll do that as soon as we can. And the other thing is, Bob Sanmore was on the solar committee. Really waiting, hopefully getting another member of the solar committee before we even meet as a committee to review the draft. So,
okay. Are we getting some bad?
It's when Bill mutes, it'll be fine. It'll stop.
Okay.
Julie on Zoom
Okay,
has her
any
hand
public
raised.
comment?
Julie on Zoom has her hand raised to.
Okay, Julie, what?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Can you identify your full name, please?
Julie Parkman.
Okay.
Outside. I just want to, first of all, I know that one of the, a letter has been submitted for one of the town board positions, for the vacant position for consideration, and on behalf of myself and the town of Canton Democratic Committee, we wanted to show our support and respect for Wayne Cuthbert. He ran a really excellent election this past fall, and where the merits of his candidacy include a skill set that I don't believe many have at the same table, with his experience in electrical, construction industry, the union. I think he would be a huge asset, and I hope that you take that into consideration as you meet in executive session and going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. Other public comment? Anyone else? Okay. Well, with that being said, we do need to go into executive session for litigation, employment history of a particular employee, and discuss interested candidates for the open seat. So I am making a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye, carried. And Bill Buchanan will be coming in to step down.
On Zoom or on phone?
So,
On the computer or video phone?
Shut this meeting right down.
You can stop the recording though.
we can probably just do it on the phone. Like that. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah.